Hello, Kate. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm Jamie. I think Kim's having some technical problems. I
Oh
think as soon as we
no.
start to talk about technology, it listens and it manifests itself in all sorts of crazy ways, just to let us know who's in
Quite
charge.
possibly. You may be onto something.
Paranoia, I think it's called.
Yeah. That is one way to describe it.
Well, there we go. I've been listening to a bit of your stuff. I'm very interested. I must admit, I'm a bit of an AI fanboy. So
Oh yeah?
yeah. So I'll try not to look too excited. Okay.
What's your favorite use case of it right now?
Well, look, I tend to use it every day, and I've got a business I run that deals a lot with marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
I use it these days as an assistant to give me a boost with copywriting,
Sure.
brainstorming ideas. I've started to use the API end of things and starting to develop web apps and that sort of stuff to see if it can take a bit of the load off the mundane sort of things I do. But
Yeah, good for you.
yeah, I think the only limitation is yeah, I'm very, very excited by where it's going, and I know there's a little bit of trepidation as well. Yeah, it just feels like
Yeah.
something that we're letting the genie out of the box a little bit. But as I say, I've got a healthy degree of paranoia there to keep things in check. So how about you? You're the expert. Let me hear your views. I think this is being recorded anyway, so it won't be wasted. But I can get the inside run.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I think all those case studies you're talking about make a whole lot of sense, and I love it for the productivity
Mm.
angle. Of just I've said a number of times. I think anything additive with AI is good stuff, right?
Yeah,
Anything
agreed.
that's replacing, that's the stuff we want to question when it comes to,
Yeah, I
that
agree.
paranoia kind of side of things.
Yeah,
But there's,
no,
go
please.
ahead.
No, I was going to say I worked as a solopreneur for most of my life, and I always felt as though how much more could I do if I had an assistant? And there was never someone who was quite right. I used to use the virtual assistants a whole lot, from what I call the ninja pinos, with no disrespect. And they were very good, but it's just having the AI there to bounce something off, to check this for me, make sure I'm not making this crazy stuff up, and just as a real assistant, it's really become that these days. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is a
exactly.
very powerful enabler.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's, that if it were only that, it would be so exciting.
Mm,
If it didn't also bring with it all of these many, many temptations to overuse it and replace human capabilities and, rethink the entire structure of corporate organizational
exactly.
workforces and to do it in ways that disrupt the entire flow of economic well-being. And it's just there's so much going on with all of that at that
Yeah,
scale.
yeah.
But
So is that sort of the line you dance on with corporations about not leaning too far into it while maintaining a solid core of of humans in the equation?
yeah, in a way, yeah, it's not even necessarily about not leaning too far into it because every organization has to adopt AI.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
really there's no really no choice, right? It's really a question of thinking it through and understanding what the consequences of each specific decision in each
Mm,
specific implementation are going to look like. This is going to be a very different conversation for Walmart, for example, a company that I just recently consulted with, versus Google, another company I've consulted with. So, you think about these different business models, different scales, different
yeah.
ways of interacting with humans inside their company as well as outside their company. It's
Yeah.
just a question of making sure that the choices they're making with the technology are really the ones they want to be making at scale when you think them through second
Mm,
order and third order kind of consequences.
yeah. What sort of ways do you see it used where perhaps it shouldn't be used as much these days? I see chatbots every website I go to, every app I use has now got an AI assistant working in the background somewhere, which I don't mind, but I must admit, marketing guy, I'm very big on face to face and talking to people like yourself. But
Yeah.
do we lean on it too much? Do we offload our creativity to it too much? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a range of these kinds of things, right? One of them is, as you say, the offloading creativity, offloading thinking. It's a shame, I think, to see people trying out the offloading of their own cognitive processes.
Hmm.
Like I think we'll get better at it. I hope, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to figure out what you and I seem to both understand, which is that it can be an incredible tool for productivity. You don't
Yeah,
have to necessarily have all of your thinking be done for you
yeah,
by the AI tools, right? But that's only the large language models, and that's only that piece of it. There's
that's
there's
true.
obviously so much more to it. Kim's
Exactly.
here.
There we
She's
go.
joined us. Hi there, Kim. How are you?
Well, we've talked
I,
about it all now. We can go. So,
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm less than strategically disappointed, I have to say.
yeah. Well, I'm not the least bit strategically disappointed with your hair. That is so wonderful.
It's
I
been like it
love
for
it.
about 20 years, and I forget, and I'll be out walking around, and I just see people do the double take, or what I consider young people, so in their 20s, will say, "I really like your hair," and keep walking, and I think, okay, that's good.
now
Hey,
I
at
could
least they
really,
had a human interaction. That's a
That's
good
it.
thing.
I could
That's all.
really pull the sexist card here and say, listen, we're having a really good conversation about AI, and you two are on the line now and talking about hair. Now, come on.
No, you have to understand this is rapport building. This is what women
Oh,
do
is that
so
what
well.
I'm making a note. Okay, done.
Yeah, it's actually kind of true, and it's one of the things that I've actually been speaking a lot with groups about is when you think about what are the sort of future ready skills that humans can lean into. One of them is relationship building and rapport building because, it's going to be so important the more we, kind of as you and I were talking, Jamie, about all these different use cases for generative AI and AI tools, what do we really bring into the workplace and into those dynamics? Like it's the relationships. It's all
That's very
about the
true.
relationships. So,
That's very true.
what women have traditionally been coded for and socialized to do is immediately foster those kinds of relationships. And that's something that I think we could all learn to do better and bring to the workplace.
I agree. And that was tongue in cheek what I said before, by the way. So my
Of
apologies.
course, but doesn't mean that I can't riff on it.
Done.
There you have Jamie's introduction to Kate O'Neill and our conversation with her. It's a three-part conversation which will begin early in 2026, but we thought we'd give you a little bit of a teaser before we take on the festivities of the season. From all of us here at Inside Exec, from Fuliana, from Jamie, from myself, we wish you the happiest of holidays, and we will see you again in 2026 when we begin our in-depth conversation with Kate O'Neill. For now, I'm Kim Bailey, and this is Inside Exec.